Hello, I'm EpiX, and welcome back to the Minecraft update video. Today I have something pretty interesting to share with you all, and it is to do with a brand new update which just rolled out for the beta platforms of Minecraft Bedrock. That's Xbox One, Windows 10 and Android phones. If you have the beta enabled, you should now have the 1.7.0.2 update which should be available. And although most of these update out videos, we focus on the update, we show like 5 to 10 minutes of gameplay and talk about what's mainly in there. This update isn't necessarily interesting for what it is by itself. If you like eating food in creative, if that's a thing you've always wanted to do, then good news for you, this update's great. But the reason this update is mostly interesting is because it is a 1.7 beta, even though 1.6 isn't out, and it means some very interesting things for the future of Minecraft updates. So let's dive straight into it, shall we? So first of all, please do like this if you do like it, because it helps out the channel a lot, and lets me know you do, get this, like the video. When you like something and you like it, it just kind of makes sense. And if you've never liked a video before because you feel like that's something only other people should do, try liking this video, just as an experiment. See if it makes you feel good. If it doesn't, that's fine, but maybe you like that you've contributed something. But anyway, with that said, let's dive straight into the 1.7.0.2 update, because like I said, it has officially come out for all of those platforms, and it's interesting because it only adds 3 major new features. There is the scoreboard functionality. More scoreboard features will be coming in late releases. It adds brand new options to eat food in creative mode and in peaceful mode. So if you don't know, in both creative and peaceful, there's no need to eat food because your hunger bar never goes down. In creative, your hunger bar is never shown, and in peaceful, there's no normal reason for that to go down. So why would you ever need to eat? And obviously, rather than just making it so you can't eat because there's no reason to, they figure, some people might play peaceful and they might miss that noise of like grov 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 grov, and I can't do an accurate representation, but if they do miss that feeling, then good news for you, Minecraft has been listening and you can now eat food in creative and peaceful. And I was going to make a lot of fun of this and be like, who wants to do that? But the truth is, a few people responded to my tweet where I mentioned it, and they're like, oh, actually, that is going to be kind of fun, because some people might play Minecraft to do role-playing stuff, or some people might be in creative and they might want to show something off. It's weird that there's some functionality not available in creative, and I guess it makes sense, like if you want to eat in creative, you can now do that. So that's wonderful, that's kind of news. And the third new feature is /game_rule command blocks enabled added. So you can officially turn on /off command blocks, and basically, yeah, this update is a fairly small one in terms of actual features. There's a few other kind of key changes they made, such as mentions of player names are now highlighted yellow in chat. So if you see your player name, it's going to show as yellow, to kind of differentiate it from the rest of their text. Typing @ in chat will show an autocomplete list of player names. So if you type @ it will show you all the players on the server, and you can autocomplete to their name. But it's a handy feature, especially on devices where it's hard to type, such as consoles and arguably on phones, depending on how fast you can type there. And then finally, made it easier to find purchase content, search and go home from the top of the marketplace screen. So that's good news. If you use the marketplace, it's a lot easier. If you don't use the marketplace, well, it doesn't really affect you, does it? So yeah, long story short, this is a pretty simple update. It adds a few basic things. It doesn't add any major features in terms of like brand new, big, exciting stuff. It does, of course, add a bunch of bug fixes. That's something they've been consistently doing with every single update. There's a bunch of crashes that maybe you care about. We'll scroll through all of those. But the ones that I particularly noticed as being interesting and useful were the fact that crouching on ladders will no longer stop when opening the pause screen or inventory screen. That's huge. It's so annoying that you can't keep, stay on one place on ladder while also checking what's in your inventory. Again, very frustrating. Good that that's been fixed. Also, when you throw tridents with loyalty, in the end, they can't ever be stuck in the void. Again, lots of good stuff. I think no one can really argue that it's a bad thing, and that's a good type of bug fix. So just making the game a little bit better step by step. So that is the 1.7.0.2 update. I'm sure there's someone out there who can talk about this for solid 10, 15, whatever minutes and just be like, well, here's this intricacy and that intricacy. But again, the things that I find interesting, they're all right there. But let's talk about the real intriguing part of this update, which isn't necessarily the things inside it. It's the name of the update itself. And you might say, Tweaker, how is the name of an update ever going to be intriguing? But riddle me here, humor me here, because 1.7.0.2 implies this is a 1.7 beta. In fact, it doesn't just imply it's a 1.7 beta. Based on everything we've seen so far, it pretty much confirms 1.7.0.2 is now, starting the 1.7 beta process, which means 1.6 is now finished. So there's two interesting things about this. One is how fast they're moving with these updates. If this is beta 1.7, bear in mind that at the beginning of this year, we were on 1.2. We're going to have 1.7 most likely by the end, maybe even 1.8 based on the current release schedule, because it seems every 2 months they're releasing an update. In May, we had 1.4. In July, we had 1.5, or the Aquatic Update Phase 2. And it looks like in September, we're going to have 1.6 at some point. We don't know exactly when, but we'll get into that in a second. But that means that, in another 2 months, we could have this update, and in another 2 months after that, we could have another one. So, whereas Minecraft Java is doing 2 updates a year, it seems as though Minecraft Bedrock is working at a pace of, 6 updates a year, 3 updates in a half year, 6 updates in a full year. And although this pace might not be kept up with, it is a really promising thing. People said, we'd love to see more updates, and it looks like they're actually delivering on that. However, as with most things, it's not like you can just triple the pace of Minecraft updates without any downsides, because bear in mind, the 1.6 update had one major beta. There was the one which had, access to the scoreboard functionality, or the beginnings of it, one which had access to the slightly better command menu, and which also, most importantly, had access to the Phantom with the slow drop falling potions. So that was the major beta, that was the only new change we really saw in all of that, and therefore to me, it kind of seems like the 1.6 update, even though, I'm sure on the internal, there's a lot of exciting things that some map makers can play around with. If you are a user, the only thing that's going to come after 2 months of development is Phantoms and the slow drop potion, and I think for a lot of people, that might be exciting. That might be enough to be like, yeah, this is a fun day, but it doesn't really seem like an update, does it? It seems like a point update, like 1.5.1, more than it seems like, or 1.5.4 or whatever, more than it seems like a full-on update, and that is maybe necessarily a problem. Maybe that's not the case, maybe it's not true at all, maybe, maybe 1.6 is going to seem like it's amazing to most people, but it does seem like we've got this real issue, like the divide between how long an update should take and how much content there should be in it, because 1.5, although it was turtles and a few other things, it was like, okay, but there was the finishing of the aquatic update. 1.6 being even smaller, 1.5, it does reach the point at some point of being like, actually, maybe bigger updates does make more sense. Maybe after Minecraft on Earth, this is all going to change. Maybe there's more stuff in the pipeline. Maybe 1.7 is going to be huge. We have no clue what 1.7 is meant to cover, and maybe in the next 2 to 3 months, we're going to see that it's actually going to be a major Minecraft update. But it seems as though most of the time with these, obviously, every 2-month updates is spent on bug fixing. And although Minecraft Bedrock needs bug fixing, we all know that beyond beliefs, it does raise the question of, so are these full-on updates? And I am on board of it, but I think a lot of people are going to be like, wait, so why are updates getting so much smaller? But maybe that's just me, because personally, I am still excited for all of these updates. It's just like, wait a minute, I think they're getting smaller, right? But that's, those are my thoughts, those are my opinions. Like I said, I try to share everything I'm thinking, even if it's like, oh, it might be controversial, it might lead someone from Microsoft to slightly dislike what's going on here, but the whole point of this channel, it's not like, let's try and get the most pro. It's like, here's what looks like it's happening. Updates have made the trade-off between time and length, and maybe they'll go back the other way, maybe they'll stay this way, or maybe getting used to updates every 2 months is just something that takes some while, some time before the updates can get bigger. I'm sure 1.7 will be bigger than 1.6. We've yet to see how, why, or anything like that, but I'm excited regardless. I want to see what happens over the coming weeks, and if any major 1.7 beta update comes out, you better believe we'll be covering it on this channel. But for now, 1.7.0.2 is out, but you don't really need to care too much. You don't need to be too envious. Maybe what they're planning to do with either 1.6 or 1.7 is leave most of the major features out of the beta and release them as a surprise at the end, because that's one of the flaws the aquatic update had. I don't know for sure. All I know is that Minecraft Bedrock is this hugely always evolving process. Even though it's the version of the game which has sold the most copies and has the most, I guess, interest, you could say, in terms of stuff like this, it's also the version where they've been ramping up production the fastest, and obviously the experience isn't necessarily going to be quite as high on how to do things. 4J is very predictable. Mojang, as in the Mojang that makes the job version, very predictable. It kind of makes sense that they've got to work out a workflow, and maybe for the first few updates it's not going to be as fast, but I think the end result is really cool. I'm glad that the Minecraft Bedrock team is listening. They're like, hey, faster updates would be better. If they can actually pull off 6 updates a year, which, we don't know if that's even their plan, it's just how the pattern has been going, that would be amazing, right? I think we can all agree that if they can actually do that, that is a solid update plan, and this video is mostly just to point out, there might be some problems, or some teething problems, or just whatever, with trying to do that. But that's my thoughts, as I like to kind of ask what your opinions are, because I try to get the real, actual, gathering of opinions, rather than saying, hey, I'm gonna try and convince you why you've got to love this, or some YouTubers focused on the hatred rather than that. I like the middle line in between of here's what actually is happening. You might be angry at this, but there's no good reason. This is just confusing and this bizarre. So I hope you all enjoy it, and again, leave your words down below so I can see what you're thinking about this, because personally I think it's a cool thing that they're working on updates so fast. I think if they can get any amount of extra throughput done there, that's a pure positive. But that's my opinion, and in case my opinion isn't good enough, I can also give you my recommendation, because I found a bubble tea place 15 minutes from where I live, and bubble tea is one of the most ridiculous, mildly wasteful, things you can get. But if you're drinking coffee or something anyway, why not go get yourself some bubble tea? If you use coupon code TOYCAT, then pretty much any place will look at you and say, what are you trying to say? This is real life, you can't use coupon codes. But with that said, I hope you all enjoyed the video. I'm coming up on 10 minutes, and I try not to go over 10 minutes, or there's too many comments saying, hey TOYCAT, you're doing this for the money and you're milking us. So thank you very much for watching, turn on notifications, and I'll see you all next time. Goodbye.